Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Today I am answering your questions about your mindset after dealing with narcissistic abuse. This person specifically is asking why they feel like everything is their fault. So basically they know that they didn't do something, but the narcissist has been accusing them of doing the thing, and so now they're thinking that they've actually done whatever it is that the narcissist is accusing them of, even after they've been discarded. So they're no longer in contact with the narcissist, and yet they still have feelings and thoughts of doing the thing that they were accused of doing when the narcissist was around. So first of all, this is a form of gaslighting. This is extremely common. It's like the most common tactic of a narcissist, and I have a bunch of videos that talk about this and how to identify it and how to combat that when you are in the middle of experiencing gaslighting, when you know that gaslighting is going on, what to do during that. So I've already kind of addressed that in a lot of my other videos. So yes, this is called gaslighting. What to do when you're out of that relationship. So I first want to talk about this from a bunch of different viewpoints. One is that you may have been brought up by a narcissist. So if you were living in an atmosphere where a narcissist lived or was frequently at, maybe they didn't live with you all of the time, but they were your babysitter, or they were a family member that you spent a long time with, a lot of time with as a child growing up, you can be conditioned to thinking that you're always guilty, even when it's not true. One of the things that's really common for families with narcissists in them, or who are heads of the family, or who are very influential in the family, is that they will create a scapegoat, and that person kind of suffers all of the narcissistic abuse, the rage that the narcissist comes out with. So this is very common, especially if you were a child in this environment. It's super unfortunate. It's really, really horrible. This is definitely a form of abuse. But it is important to note that if you grew up in a home like this, you're preconditioned to not understand true right and wrong, right? Your true north compass is kind of off. And it's really important that you get healing from that, so that you can, as an adult, make choices that are not only aligned with your values and your morals, but also that you are making choices that will help you to do your destiny, to help you accomplish your purpose in life, whatever you're here to do, that you're going to be able to do that. And choosing friends, choosing the right job, and all of that kind of stuff can be affected when you haven't grown up knowing what your true north compass is in life. So it's really important that you spend time recalibrating that if you grew up in a home or grew up around a narcissist as a child. If you didn't get raised in that kind of environment, but maybe you just were never taught your true worth, maybe you just never were taught about boundaries and how to set boundaries, and that it's okay to say no to people, to things, to places that aren't absolute best for you, then that's another thing that you kind of have to shore up, right? You have to, first of all, be willing to admit that there is something off in the way that you make decisions. And lots of people who fall into this category, the issue is that they don't want to say no, right? They don't want to make somebody feel bad. And they don't understand the cost of doing that is coming at the cost of them, the cost of their life, the cost of being true to themselves. And they're constantly denying who they are by doing this. So if that's you, again, take note of which one of these categories you're falling into. And number 3, maybe you're neither of these things. By the way, there's so many more categories. I'm just going to give you kind of a breakdown of the most common ones, that especially that I see as a life coach in this area. Number 3, maybe you're neither of those, but you just decided that you wanted this relationship, this specific thing to work out so badly that you just ignored all of the red flags, and you kept trying to force something. Either you felt pressure from your family, you felt pressure from society, or whatever it was, and you just wanted that specific relationship to work in spite of all of the red flags that you were shown. You didn't want to admit that, and now you find yourself so far from who you know yourself to be, right? Your behavior is completely different. You're thinking about things that are that you never used to think about. You're struggling with issues that you never struggled with before. You don't even know who your friends are anymore. You know, your life is just completely different than it was a few years before you met the narcissist. So you're one of these three categories, right? And now everything is your fault. You think everything is your fault. And really recognizing which one of these three very broad general categories you fall into is important, because if you're the first one, right, you were raised around a narcissist, this is going to show you that it's not just this narcissist that is causing the problems. And the truth is that for all three categories, that's actually not the truth. The narcissist played a role in highlighting to you a weakness in your character, a character flaw in yourself. But the only reason that was allowed was because there was something missing there. So if you never knew, who you truly were, you were never treated with value, you need to get help for that. You need to get healing for that, because this goes much deeper than just this one relationship, this one narcissist, right? It goes to your entire childhood, needing to have this, the whole concept even of who you are and what's right and wrong, needing to be rebuilt and needing to get fixed, to be whole again. If you're in the middle category, you weren't raised by a narcissist, but you just weren't taught good life skills, good interpersonal relationship skills. You don't know how to set boundaries. You don't know how to say no to people. You don't want to disappoint people. That's another issue that needs to get dealt with, right? That really speaks to identity, a lack of identity, a lack of willingness to be who you are, be who you were created to be. And number three, if you just felt like, this is the time, this all needs to come together for me, you're feeling pressure from your family or from society or even within yourself, and you just wanted to ignore those red flags, look at why that was. What was the underlying lie that was at work there that allowed you to do that? When you can identify that thing, you can replace it with the truth. So once I know, oh yeah, it was really because I had just turned, let's say I just turned 40, it was my birthday, and I was really feeling like, stuff has to start lining up for me. If that was you, you need to look at that. Why was your birthday the trigger point? What were the things that you had put expectations on yourself for having stuff done by this point that weren't done, and why did they get there? How did they get there? That kind of stuff. So you want to be able to look at really what the root cause is, and then you want to be able to replace it with the truth. So if you think that if by 40 I'm not married and I don't have kids, then I don't have value, right? If that's the underlying lie, you need to replace that with truth. You need to replace that with something that can withstand time. That's what truth is. Truth is eternal. And so similarly with every single one of these categories, you need to find out what the ultimate lie was and start replacing that with truth. And every time you find a lie, as you dig down deep, you need to replace that with another truth. When you're convinced that everything is your fault and that you're guilty of doing something, even if you know, like, you didn't even do that thing, you weren't even around whenever that thing happened, you need to know that this is a tactic of the narcissist. You need to be able to identify it for what it is, that it has nothing to do with you, that is truly a reflection of the narcissist and how the narcissist feels about themselves, and that you give the narcissist energy when you feed into that. If you can never get to the place where you're able to see, like, just because somebody says something to you doesn't make it true. And just because somebody accuses you of something doesn't make it true. But if you don't have that type of identity, you don't have that clear mindset, right? I talk a lot about looking at how things really are, not how you want them to be. So if you can look at reality, the true full picture, and be able to identify that what is reality and what isn't, this is going to help you to not start giving energy into stuff that you can just shut down by not thinking about it, by not coming into agreement with it. See, something like this, where it's like, no, I know I didn't do it, but why is it making me feel guilty? It's because you're giving place to it. You're allowing that thought to occupy space in your mind when it has no business being there. If you find the entry point for that lie, which again, I've just explained in these 3 broad scenarios, right? Finding the lie, uprooting it, planting truth there instead. If you find the place where it originally was allowed to enter, that's how you shut that out and stop giving that thing place, rental space in your mind. It doesn't even deserve to be there. But you can't just close off that thought without uprooting the thing that allowed it to enter in the first place, because otherwise you're just going to find yourself very frustrated. It's like, I'm trying to not think about it and I'm still thinking about it, because you're trying to do it in your own strength. I'm talking about doing something that will have the effect naturally of not allowing that thing to have any place in your mind. So you have to identify what the root cause was. Where did this thing enter into? How did it come into your mind? You need to go to that place and close the door at that place. The thought is the evidence that there is something operating, that there is something let into your mind. This is true of any thought. This is true of any thought. And if you don't like the thought, you need to find out where that thought came from, how it got into your mind, how it got into your atmosphere. I teach people a lot about how to take authority over themselves, over their body, soul, and spirit, and how to work on your internal world first, and how that will allow your external world to line up once your internal world is in line. And this is the number one thing. If you just try to not think about something, you're going to think about that thing more. That's how it works, because you're trying to block the thought, which is the fruit of the tree that you've allowed to get planted in the garden of your mind. So I'm telling you to find the root of the tree and uproot the root. Get rid of the tree completely and plant something different there, so that you're going to have different thoughts naturally. You're not just going to be scrambling around trying to pick up all of the thoughts that you don't like, and then you're frustrated when they keep growing back. It's because you're still there's a life being given to those thoughts somewhere in your mind. You need to find where that is and uproot it. And finally, before I end this video, I just want to speak over you that you deserve to be free of that. It's absolutely possible to get free of that too. I'm living proof of that. I have dozens of clients who are living proof of that. Get free from that. Be free from that. Be free from guilt. Be free from shame. That is not your portion. You should not ever walk in that. And start really developing the thing that you were supposed to be. Start really digging into your true identity. Start allowing the things that you discover while you're on the quest for who you truly are and what you're here to do. Allow those things to be the things that are taking up space and are growing in the garden of your mind. Let those things take up the real estate. Stop giving place to lies and stuff that is only going to cause destruction and death inside of you, right? That's again, whatever is happening in your internal world is going to show up externally. So if you see a lot of that happening around you, take a look and see what's going on inside of you. It's very easy to blame other people, like, you know, if your husband is an addict, or you know, if your kids are rebellious. It's very easy to blame other people without ever taking a look at yourself and seeing what is wrong with your internal world, or what you could be doing differently to help bring peace and order into the external chaos. And that isn't condemnation. It's just that, you know, you're the answer. And until you see that you're the answer, you're going to think that everybody else has the answer for you, that it has to come from outside of you, which is another lie. So please look inside of yourself, find out where these thoughts are coming from, why you're susceptible to feel those thoughts. It's not just because the narcissist told you that you did something that you didn't do. It isn't. Why is that thought even allowed to exist and to stay living inside of you? Why are you still thinking about it? There's something feeding it. There's something feeding it. You're giving life to it somewhere. Find out where you are giving life to it, uproot that thing, and that thought will go away naturally. Okay, you guys, so I hope this video has helped you, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.